Happy Monday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. And we've got quite the train wreck to cover today, don't we? Quite the train wreck. I'll tell you what. I tried for months. Really, it's been since February, right? The middle of February. To be fair to our Attorney General, Pam Bondi. And you know what? Because we've been fair to Pam Bondi, we're going to continue to be fair to Pam Bondi today, although it's probably not going to be what she deems fair. Okay? The Epstein stuff, all right, there's things that we can rationalize and we will talk about, and, you know, we will discuss it, what the memo actually says. First thing I want to get right off the bat. I saw this happening yesterday, and I'm not saying that I don't trust the people that were doing this. They're right to ask the questions. The DOJ memo, which is unsigned and undated, a lot of people I saw, some were using it as a coping mechanism. Some were actually, digging in. Is the memo fake? I think at this point, we're over 12 hours after the memo was, in my opinion, leaked. It's not fake. When's the last time the Trump administration ever let a hoax continue without offering a rebuttal or a debunk, right? So I don't think the memo is fake. Was the memo supposed to go out last night or get leaked last night? I think based on what it's missing, dates, signatures, etc., I don't think it was supposed to go out to Axios, and I think there was a leak. But do I think the memo is authentic, i.e. it is from the Department of Justice? Yes, I think it's authentic. Again, if the memo was not authentic, I think by now, I really think we would have seen the answer last night. But I think by now, we would have seen the administration, somebody, Levitt, Bondi's office, the FBI, somebody would have came out and said, no, this didn't come from us. This is fake. This is a hoax. This is nonsense. The fact that we don't see that, I think, kind of should prove that memo is an authentic, whether or not we agree with what's in it. So authentic does not mean it's 100% the truth. Authentic means it came from where it says it came from. Get it? So I think based on the silence from the administration, the silence from Bondi's office, and the lack of anybody within the administration coming out there and debunking it, I think that the memo itself is real, is authentic, i.e., it came from the Department of Justice. Okay? So I don't think it's a fake memo, as some folks had alleged last night. And again, I don't think a lot of people were alleging it last night for bad intentions or anything like that. I think it was, perfectly right to question, well, where's the date? Well, where's the signature? This looks odd. We'd never seen a memo like this. It wasn't ready to come out. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this is going to make people mad. Oh, no. You know what? It is what it is. Oh, no. My mic's not on. Jeffrey Epstein.
Silencing me.
Jeffrey Epstein was a criminal. Do criminals keep spreadsheets of their crimes?
No, typically not.
Not, right? If somebody here thought that there was an Excel spreadsheet or Jeffrey Epstein wrote and said, I, Jeffrey Epstein, trafficked children to Bill Clinton on July 9th, Bill Gates on February 18th, Hillary Clinton on January 30th. If you thought that there was a list that Jeffrey Epstein himself kept, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Now, whenever I referenced or heard about the Epstein list, I always thought that it was a list of clients that have been proven to be clients throughout various types of evidence, whether it's video, transactions, flight logs, etc. Never did I think there was a list that was kept personally by Jeffrey Epstein. Because generally, if you're a criminal, you hide your tracks. You don't publish your tracks on an Excel spreadsheet. That's point number 2. Does a list like that exist? It very well may. Is it going to be released by the Department of Justice? It doesn't look like it.
It's probably been destroyed.
And that's another good point, too. It's probably been destroyed, along with a lot of the other evidence. But we don't know. We don't know. There were obviously crimes committed. The Department of Justice memo, if we read the memo, said that there is a lot of evidence that can't be released for 2 reasons. Number 1, it is currently under seal by a court. Okay? Number 1, it is currently under seal. It's been sealed by the courts. Now, the Department of Justice can order that to be unsealed and file for that to be unsealed. But part of the reason why a lot of the evidence can't be released is because it has been sealed. It has been ordered to be sealed and kept out of the public domain. And the memo says this. We'll read the memo in a second. So nowhere in the memo does it say there's no evidence. But it explains why some of the evidence that exists can't come out. Reason number 2. A lot of it, much of it, as we thought, is CSAM, child sexual abuse material. Now, I know none of us want that to be distributed. Do I think we're getting the full story? I don't. I don't think we're getting the full story. Do I think there were people leading up until this moment, including Pam Bondi, selling us the moon, selling us the universe, engagement farming over this list, as if there was a list that says, I, Jeffrey Epstein, trafficked children of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Bill Gates, and then name and date. Do I think there were people that were selling us that idea that something like that exists? I absolutely do. Never in my mind did I think that a list of that nature existed. I always thought that we would get a list that was aggregated by authorities of people he associated with. Is that list real? Was it destroyed? These are all valid questions. Was there ever, do I ever think there was a list that was kept by Jeffrey Epstein himself of names of his, associates? I don't think so. Because honestly, guys, I think he's smarter than that. Criminals generally don't log their crimes on paper. Unless we're talking about a shooter with a manifesto, et cetera. But they know going in that they're probably going to die. Okay, so that's where we're at. Okay, but there's no physical list of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We'll get to the memo in a second. The suicide. That's the other thing. The death. Of course, I've got questions about Epstein's death. The video of the door that you see there is not the same door that you saw in photos outside of Epstein's cell. Why? Because the cameras outside of Epstein's cell weren't working, right? That's what they say. The video I think that we've been given that was out last night is a video outside of a wing. So the door that you're seeing is not the door to Epstein's cell. I believe the door that you're seeing is a door to a hallway where Epstein's cell is located. That makes the most sense to me. Again, that makes the most sense to me. The death. I want to be very, very clear about the death, and I want you to listen very, very closely about the death. If you believe Epstein killed himself or if you believe he didn't kill himself, perfectly fine. Nobody's ever going to know what happened. Nobody's ever going to know for sure what happened. There's no evidence of it either way, whether it was a suicide or a homicide. I want to just be very clear about the death. The only doctor who reviewed Epstein's body, the only one that even came close to ruling it a homicide, came close. The wording was more consistent with homicide than suicide. That was the wording. The only doctor who even came close to ruling it a homicide was Dr. Michael Baden. Who is Dr. Michael Baden? Dr. Michael Baden is the equivalent of a hired gun and a propagandist masquerading as a doctor. He was hired by Jeffrey Epstein's brother, in this case, to challenge the official narrative of Epstein's death. You say, okay, cool. Conflicting opinion. Nice, not bad. Okay, but you know who else Dr. Michael Baden was hired by? George Floyd's family. To essentially put forth the notion that George Floyd was murdered. So before we go exalting that autopsy as the smoking gun, just consider who wrote it. Because I know the majority of people who are listening right now do not believe George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin. But Michael Baden said he was. We can't choose to believe Michael Baden when he says what he wants, what we want to hear. But then say that it's a hack autopsy report when it's not what we want to hear. I'm just saying, there are questions about the death. They're perfectly valid questions about the death. Nobody's going to know for sure. What sucks in this case the most is the overall lack of transparency in the case. Period. And the person that I have the biggest gripe with right now is Pam Bondi. Why did she tell us she had this stuff on her desk? Why did she tell us more was coming? Why did Anna Paulina Luna say phase 2 was coming soon? Why did we hear about hundreds of thousands of videos and this, that, and the other? And then we get a complete about face. Bondi needs to be held accountable, period. I think I was very fair to her up until this point. I think she should be fired. I think she should be fired. Period. These were promises made by her in front of cameras, on television, on a number of occasions, and we have them today, that she just completely whiffed on. Pam Bondi should be fired. And if there's one thing I'll say, and as much as Trump has been doing, great things over the course of the last couple of weeks, the one thing he seems to have a huge problem with is this attorney general position. He can't seem to get it right. And by the way, no, I do not believe Matt Gaetz would have been a better option, especially considering this case and his background, which he has all but admitted to because he's not guilty on a technicality. Okay? I don't know who should replace Pam Bondi. Maybe Mike Davis. I don't think she's going to get replaced right off the bat. I don't. But it's clear to me right now that she's not cut out for this role. She's not. She's in way over her head. The binder thing, the going out on cable news, in way over her head. All right, we're going to get to all of it. We're going to read the memo. We don't even have to read between the lines of the memo. We just have to read the lines of the memo. Listen to what it's telling us, and then judge our reactions off of what the memo is telling us. And again, I believe the memo is legitimate. If it wasn't, I think you would have a statement from somebody by now saying, "This, I don't know where this came from. This didn't come from us." I believe the memo is legitimate. All right, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Christmas in July. Christmas in July. OFPfarms.com, OFPfarms.com. Use your promo code Sean, 35% off right now at OFP Farms. That's Oscar Foxtrot, PapaFarms.com, OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. It is time to break out the holiday cheer at OFP Farms. They're decking the Star-Spangled Halls with their Christmas in July sale. Use the code Sean for 35% off. And while you're at it, take a look at this amazing video they put together. Sounds like Sam Elliott. Is it Corey? Is it Sam Elliott's brother? I don't know. Take a look.
Hey, y'all. Celebrate Christmas in July with a sale from OFP Farms. Goat milk soap so creamy you'd think the goats were bottling pure American spirit. Even Uncle Sam can't help but tip his hat at the scent of freedom. Don't wait. Deck your Star-Spangled Halls now with 35% off. Stock up on our rich patriotic goat milk soaps, lotions, and lip balms. Or treat someone special with one of our famous gift sets. Because this sale ensures that you'll be sparkling brighter than the fireworks on the 4th. So, saddle up and treat yourself to a sudsy salute to the red, white, and bleat. Visit OFP Farms, where every wash is a celebration of American grit and goat glamour. Yeehaw.
OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean, SHAWN, for 35% off during the Christmas in July sale. It's OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. Next up is our good friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Farish, F-A-R-A-S-H. PatriotMobile.com/Farash. Look, there are many choices when it comes to who you can choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that is Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines, fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while also providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the major networks. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who have made the switch and are now supporting causes that they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. Switching is easier than ever. You can activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number. Keep your phone, or even upgrade. You got a crappy old phone you've been stuck with for a long time, can't find a way to upgrade. Patriot Mobile can help you out there as well. Give Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team a call. All U.S.-based support, that's a big selling point for Patriot Mobile. And take a look. They're standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/FARASH. That's patriotmobile.com/Farish for a free month of service when you switch to Patriot Mobile today. PatriotMobile.com/Farish or 972-PATRIOT. PatriotMobile.com/FARASH for a free month of service or 972-PATRIOT. All right, here we go. Let's get into this memo. Obviously, this one, look, I'm not happy with what was released last night. I can't tell you that I'm happy with it, okay? I can't tell you that I'm happy with Bondi. I'm not, all right? Here's what the memo says. We'll put this on your screen right here. You could read along with us. As a part of our commitment to transparency, laughable, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. All right, let's stop there. The 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. That does not mean it's 10,000 videos that Epstein put together, okay? Please be aware of what that is saying, right? That's not 10,000 videos that he took. That's 10,000 videos that he went out, searched for, and brought down onto his computer because he's into that kind of crap, and he's a nasty guy. All right, let's keep going on here. And we obviously don't want those videos. It's illegal to release that. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Reasonable. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing, meaning the material that's there, if they wanted to release it and it has been ordered, sealed by a court, they can't release it yet. However, the Department of Justice, if they wanted to, could order to have that unsealed, okay, or could file to have that unsealed. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims. It did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. That's interesting. And that's where I start to say, okay, so you mean to tell me he did this all by himself and nobody else is implicated? I don't know. I scratch my head on that one. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. Fine. I don't want them to release child pornography. Fine. This systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. Okay, see that it's in quotes, meaning there's no physical log of clients. That doesn't mean that a list of names can't be put together. That means there was no physical list within the data and evidence that they took. That's why it's in quotes. There was no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. No credible evidence. I don't know. I feel like there's more to that story that they're not letting on. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Uncharged. Again, not exactly loving that explanation. Consistent with prior disclosures, this review confirmed that Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. Each suffered unique trauma. Sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. This includes specific details such as victim names and likenesses, physical descriptions, places of birth, associates, and employment history. One of our highest priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends. I don't think these theories are unfounded, though. That's the problem here. To that end, while we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein, and that's a lie, and ensured examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the Department of Justice and the FBI that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. Okay. That to me doesn't sound like transparency. The problem with all this that I have is, do I believe that there was evidence before this administration came in that was deleted, destroyed, hidden, marred beyond recognition? I do. If Donald Trump was on this list, if people are saying, see, Elon was right, Elon apologized and said he was wrong already about that. If Donald Trump was on this list, do you really think that Merrick Garland would have kept it under seal? Do you really think that we wouldn't know about it and things like that? I don't think it has anything to do with Donald Trump, to be completely honest with you. I think public enemy number one right now should be Pam Bondi. Public enemy number one right now should be Pam Bondi. Period. End of story. The way she handled this, and the day after Bindergate happened, we came on here and said, look, I'm going to give her time, but if she doesn't redeem herself and she continues down this road, I'm going to have big problems with her, right? We've given her 5 months or so. She has done anything but redeem herself. She is, as a matter of fact, continued to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig this hole. That there's something big coming. It's like QAnon. There's nothing, according to the memo now. But let's take a trip down memory lane. I'll show you why I think Pam Bondi is the problem. If Bondi didn't do this grandstanding on television, I don't even think we have a memo. I think we'd still be asking where the files are. It's the 180-degree about face that I believe really hurts Bondi and hurts the entire administration here. Listen to this. This is when she went on with Jesse Waters before the binders came out. Remember this?
Said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah. What you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay. Well,
along with his co-defendant.
Absolutely. And
there she is promising the moon, right? There she is promising the moon tomorrow. What happened tomorrow? What happened the day after that interview? Binders. The 3-ring binder, 3-ring circus. That joke where all the information that was in there was already information that was public. And she claimed to have this stuff all on her desk. I have been told by somebody who I believe can be trusted that she was, and I'm not defending her. I'm telling you what I've been told, so don't shoot the messenger, okay? I have been told that Pam Bondi was misled about the information that she was about to get. That gives her no excuse to say what she said on Jesse Waters. None. She was told by somebody who I think she deemed trustworthy, that, hey, you're getting stacks of documents. It's bad. Go out and tell the world that you're releasing things tomorrow. And then, everyone found out that it was stuff that everyone pretty much already had access to, right? And now she has egg on her face and has to, rather than come out, as I said she should have, and said, I'm sorry, I misinterpreted what I had. She kept digging herself a bigger hole, like with this clip.
We all did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay, I want to be clear because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. There were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York. Yep. So based on that, I gave...
Okay, what happened to quote unquote all this evidence? Because remember, the day before the binders came out, the stuff that she was claiming that she had was all those flight logs and whatnot that we already had. She can't keep this web of lies going. And the final clip that I want to show you, this is why, keep her away from the cameras. She's got to stop talking and just keep her holed up in her office. Because at this point, every time she opens her mouth, she's lying and trying to essentially prop up one lie with another lie. Here's another clip.
I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz. And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Okay. So the client list that doesn't actually exist is sitting on her desk. Folks, this woman is lying. She's saying things that, holding both positions of the story that can't be true at once. Okay? The woman, she needs to go. That's unacceptable. I have the files. They're on my desk, but it wasn't the complete thing. But we know now that it's coming and the FBI turned over everything, but there's actually nothing. I'm sorry. Pam Bondi's got to go. That's it. That's it. I have lost any remaining confidence in Bondi whatsoever. How could you have confidence with a woman who came out in front of national television, and say, I have all of this, I've got it all. And then, months go by, and the story completely changes. If Pam Bondi had just kept her mouth shut and not lied, whether Pam Bondi was misled or not, to me, does not matter. She went on national television and made claims as the Attorney General of the United States that she could not back up. Period. The files were on her desk. Then they weren't on her desk. Then the list was on her desk. Now there's no list. Then the FBI had it, but they didn't actually have it. I mean, look, guys, this is the problem. Pam Bondi went on Fox News the day before Bindergate and said she had this huge thing. It was all on her desk. She made these claims. She made extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence. On national television, as an attorney general who was sworn in about 3 weeks prior to making those statements. She overhyped it, she oversold it, and boy, did she underdeliver. And it's not the underdelivering part of it that I have an issue with. It's the lying. This is a blatant sign of just egregious incompetence at the attorney general position. Egregious. I don't care that she underdelivered. I care that she lied. That she either intentionally or out of incompetence mischaracterized what she was and her office was reviewing regarding the Epstein files. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Maybe she felt the need to chum the waters because everybody was clamoring for the list and going crazy. Maybe she felt that need. You know what? She's got to be stronger than that. In her own memo, citing unfounded theories helps nobody. In that DOJ memo that came out yesterday, in the memo it says not to do what she actively did from February until yesterday. Unacceptable. Pam Bondi needs to be fired. She's incompetent, or she's intentionally and purposefully lying and can no longer be trusted. She's got to go. She's got to go. I gave her about as long a leash as anybody I know. She has to go. And she's public enemy number one in this saga, as far as I'm concerned. All right. Let's get to, we're gonna go into the big beautiful bill because we got to do some freaking good news. And I don't want to keep going around and around in circles with this Epstein stuff. It's a disappointment what we saw yesterday. I don't even want to say it doesn't matter because it matters. It does matter. It does matter. But we got to focus on moving on, I guess. And if she does wind up getting fired and getting replaced, hopefully she's replaced by somebody who at least tries in some way to right those wrongs. Okay, let's get to a word from somebody who you may know very well, by the way. It's the great Jeremy Harrell with a message from Pure Health.
Hey guys, what's going on? I got an incredible offer here for you from Pure Health Research. This is going to blow your mind. Look, I know so many people out there, especially as we get older, we want to drop a few pounds. We lose a little energy. We lose a little testosterone. We lose a little, estrogen. We just lose as we get older. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to gain, and this message is just for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to what? Make America healthy again. They are aligned with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s mission, and I'm aligned with that. Their two best-selling health supplements right now that are leading the way is the liver health formula. Over 100 million Americans are sluggish because of a liver that is riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on pounds, make you feel tired. All that liver health formula will take care of that. It supports your liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down. Next is the lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, been there, done that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to be for you. The natural ingredient in the lymph system formula helps gently flush extra fluids and toxins out of the body. Right now, you can get a limited time offer, 35% off right now. 35% off by going to purehealthresearch.com and using promo code LFA. That's Pure Health Research right now. Use promo code LFA and you'll get 35% off targeted products. I need something for this. I need something for that. They got it. And I want you to check out their reviews online. They are through the roof. purehealthresearch.com. Promo code LFA.
PureHealthResearch.com, promo code LFA. It's PureHealthResearch.com, promo code Lima Foxtrot Alpha. Thank you, Jeremy, for that. And thank you, Pure Health, for being a part of the show. We're going to get into some of the best moments from last week. The big, beautiful bill. because unless you were up early with me on July 4th, you didn't get to celebrate yet. The big, beautiful bill passing. And yes, there are elements of it to celebrate. There are also elements of it that aren't great. We told you that from the very beginning, it was never going to be a perfect bill. And so anybody who expected it to be a perfect bill was obviously not paying attention or just had lofty expectations that were never going to be fulfilled. It was not a perfect bill. It was never going to be a perfect bill. But nonetheless, it was necessary. We got our tax cuts. It was a good moment for the Trump administration over the weekend and worthy of celebrating based off of what I think Republicans may have learned how to do. We will get to that in just a second. Before we do that, I want to talk to you about My Patriot Supply. MyPatriotSupply.com. You guys heard that stuff happened in Texas, right? Those floods. Oh, yeah. So many people passed away and lost everything. And this is one of the reasons sometimes you never know when it's coming. And the fake news garbage about the National Weather Service not putting out warnings is nonsense. We'll get to that in a second as well. But it is always important to be prepared, right? Always important to be prepared, and that's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Look, the headlines, they're getting crazier all the time. We got an unstable situation in the Middle East, reports of sleeper cells in the United States, the looming threat of nuclear proliferation. Nobody knows what's coming next. But one thing is clear. When a crisis hits, it's too late to prepare. The idea is to be prepared before the crisis, right? Because if you prepare after the crisis, then you're not prepared for the crisis and you're stuck in a bad situation. Don't let that be you. That is why I want you to grab the Independence Day bundle from My Patriot Supply. It includes a massive 1-year emergency food supply. The food, by the way, has a shelf life of 25 years. So if something doesn't happen 12 years from now, you're still cool. You're covered. Right now, they're throwing in over $1,200 in free survival gear with it. We're talking a full year of food, solar backup power, water filtration, everything that you need to ride out whatever may be coming with lightning fast free shipping. Check out the bundle now at mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That is mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. This is more than just a great deal. It might be your last best chance to get your house in order. But this special offer is not going to last long. It's about to expire. Get on it now. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That's mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Okay. Big, beautiful bill. Let's get to that.
All right.
The big, beautiful bill. This was a massive lesson for House Republicans over the weekend and throughout this entire process. My 4 MVPs as follows in this order. Donald Trump wins the gold medal. J.D. Vance wins the silver medal. Mike Johnson wins the bronze medal. And Hakeem Jeffries wins the tinfoil medal. Okay? Those are the people who were the most instrumental in getting this big, beautiful bill passed. How do we know that this is a net positive? Well, we always judge our political victories based on the reaction of those on the left. And I would say that AOC is firmly on the left. So let's take a look at AOC here. AOC, who had a rough time talking about the passage of the big, beautiful bill. Watch this.
I think this is one of the saddest days in modern American history. This is the largest withdrawal and ending of health care in American history. 17 million people in our country, 17 million Americans in our country are going to lose their Medicaid. They're going to lose their ACA insurance. Small business owners are going to have their health care costs skyrocket. And people are going to have their SNAP and WIC cut back. People are going to go hungry. People are going to get sick.
People are going to go hungry. People are going to get sick. It's like Bernie said, people are going to die. How come every time the left has a problem with something, it's always that someone's going to die? People are going to die. Okay. What she's talking about are these, cuts to Medicaid, these potential cuts. Not really cuts as much as they are better oversight over people who simply are refusing to work, who are able-bodied Americans. An able-bodied American who is refusing to work because his or her life is subsidized by the government, that's unacceptable. That's stealing. Somebody who has a disability who can't work is not who we're talking about here. I'm talking about a 29-year-old or a 39-year-old or a 49-year-old who has no disability but likes sitting at home. Doesn't produce anything worth value and refuses to get a job, and yet life is subsidized by the government. That's not the way this is supposed to work. That is abuse of the system. And we're trying to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. The Big Beautiful Bill did include tons of funding for ICE to dial up deportations, which during Obama's long-winded filibuster, he characterized as something that sounds really appealing to me. Now, I'm sorry for having to play Hakeem Jeffries, but, I think this is actually a good selling point for the Big Beautiful Bill. Watch.
Speaker, that's not what this country should be all about. Manu wasn't the only one. The only American citizen who's been targeted by the deportation machine, a deportation machine that will be unleashed on steroids by this one big ugly bill.
I mean, I'm all about a deportation machine on steroids. I don't know about you, but if you take a deportation machine and then you start juicing it up, like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Jose Canseco, I'm fine with that. Little baseball reference for people who don't get it. Those are the guys that are the biggest juice heads during the steroid era. Bonds, Barry Bonds, he was not rail thin, but he was a thin guy. All of a sudden, his head got bigger. He was this big hulking dude, right? Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire. You can see, you just tell when somebody's doing steroids. They're just meaty. Yeah. Well, if it's a meaty deportation machine, I'm totally fine with that. A deportation machine on steroids, fine. Let's go. Do it. I'm ready. One of the biggest selling points of the Big Beautiful Bill, the funding for ICE, the funding for the border wall. Here is Mike Johnson, who, look, unpopular take, I don't like Mike Johnson. I'm not a big fan of him either, but he did his job. Credit where it's due. And here's Johnson just highlighting how badly the Democrats played this Big Beautiful Bill.
I'll tell you what, the American people chose overwhelmingly. They chose the Republican Party. And the reason they did that, they didn't come hesitantly. They came with hopeful anticipation. You know why? Because this is not your father's Democratic Party, okay? Amen. They went so far, full speed to the far left. And their radical, woke, progressive agenda, that nonsense that they tried to push on the people, was rejected by the people.
Yeah. That's right. Nothing Mike Johnson said there. I agree with everything he said, right? I agree with everything he said. And here's him taking shots at Hakeem Jeffries. Jeffries spoke for 8 hours and 40-something minutes. And he got his little records. Now he could say, I spoke the longest. Great. You know who was number two? Kevin McCarthy. These are two useless individuals, okay? I spoke the longest. I stood for almost 9 hours against fascism, or whatever the hell his fundraising email is going to say, because that's all that was about. It was a publicity stunt, and he got his publicity and fine, and we mocked him. And then the Republicans, he was the most hated man in the chamber at that point. They just want to go home. It's 4th of July weekend. Well, here is Mike Johnson taking a jab.
Ronald Reagan said one time that no speech should be longer than 20 minutes, and unlike the Democrat leader, I'm going to honor my colleague's time and be a little more brief than that, all right? I just want to say something that many of us learned when we were children. We were taught, it takes a lot longer to build a lie than to tell the simple truth.
takes a lot longer to build a lie than it does to tell the simple truth. And that applies to Pam Bondi and a lot of politicians. And by the way, a lot of online personalities, right? Like people who swore up and down for weeks that we were still in World War III. You know, think about how much gymnastics, how much elbow grease it took to construct that whole thing, right? No, we're at war, right? It's the people who blame the Jews for everything. They have to go like into outer space to pull what they think is evidence all the way back. It takes a lot longer to construct that than to just tell the truth, right? To just tell the truth. If I told you the truth that 2 + 2 = 4, I'm done, right? That's the truth. But in order for me to convince you that 2 + 2 is actually 5, I'm going to be here for a while, right? Because it's not. But I could say, well, technically, one of the 2s can identify as a 3 because of the trans property in mathematics, right? So 2 + 2 in some circumstances could equal 5. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigot. Because you don't stand up for the rights of one of the 2s to identify as a 3. And who are you to determine how that number, right? So you see? Now, I'm still not the biggest fan of Mike Johnson, but I'm going to say this. And I think everybody could agree with this. Look, I'm not saying that we have to wave the pom-poms for the guy. I'm saying, can we be fair and give Mike Johnson credit where it's due? Mike Johnson did not cave and make a deal with the Democrats. That is a fact. Is the bill perfect? It is not. Did he solicit Democrat support and go over to their side of the aisle and beg and pander and make concessions to them to get them on board with this bill? He did not. What did the House Republican Party learn throughout this process? We don't need them. We don't need the Democrats. I don't see a scenario where Kevin McCarthy does the same thing. Whether you love Mike Johnson or you don't, on Wednesday night, when he left that procedural vote open all night long, he played a Pelosi. He played it like Nancy Pelosi. And that's a compliment when it comes to his tactics and his strategy. I don't like Nancy Pelosi's politics. I don't like the policies that she advocates for, but I will never take away from the fact that Nancy Pelosi is a shrewd, a cunning, and an effective tactician and strategist in her role in the House of Representatives. Nobody should take that away from her. Just like I'm a Jets fan. I don't appreciate what Tom Brady did to my team, but he was a damn good quarterback. One of the best ever. Nancy Pelosi, same thing. I don't like the damage that she's done to this country, but she is damn good at what she does and getting her way. And up until last week, Mike Johnson was not good at that. But what he did last week, when he left that vote open on Wednesday night, when anybody could have easily folded, and anybody could have easily said, all right, you know what? We hit a roadblock. Let's do this over. Let's go to the Dems. Let's pass this thing with bipartisan support. They could have done that. They could have done that. They didn't do that. The House Republican Party showed you that they don't need the Democrats to govern. This is like when you're learning how to ride a bike and you realize, I don't need training wheels. I don't need somebody holding the handlebars. I can do this. I'm not going to fall. And when I feel like I'm going to fall, I could save it. I can ride this bike. This has to be a shot in the arm of the confidence of the House GOP. And whether we like him or not, his deadline to pass the first version of the bill was before Memorial Day, and he did it. And the overall deadline to get this thing passed for Donald Trump to sign it was July 4th, and he did it. That's not me saying I love Mike Johnson and I want his name tattooed on my back. That's me saying he made a promise. He said he was going to do something. He followed through. He got it done, and he did not ask the Democrats to help him do it. That's the first time in a very long time that I've seen the House Republican Party do something without caving to the Democrats. And that to me is a phenomenal sign. So in this instant, we say, well done to Mike Johnson. In this scenario, we say, well done to Mike Johnson. All right. Quick break here, and then we'll talk on this Texas thing. You know, it's such heavy news, but there's a really nice heroic story that I want to highlight. I want to talk to you about our friends over at Silent. It's slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN, silent.com/SHAWN, folks. Between the government, big tech, corporate America, and criminals trying to steal your data and make your life hell, your privacy is compromised 24/7. There's no other option. You have to protect yourself, and that starts with Silent. slnt.com/SHAWN. Silent's Faraday products block all incoming and outgoing signals so that your devices are invisible and safe from the outside world. From their backpacks, phone sleeves, and even their pants, patented signal blocking technology blocks wireless signals, giving you the peace of mind that your data does not end up in the wrong hands. Just place your device inside it, close it, and that's all you got to do. Simple as that. You are safeguarded from unauthorized access. You're safeguarded from all signal penetration in and out. You're safeguarded from radiation, and you're safeguarded from tracking and hacking. Go silent today at slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN, to save 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. That is silent, slnt.com/SHAWN. For 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders, silent.com/Sean, SHAWN, silent.com/SHAWN. All right, this weather thing that happened down in Florida, this flash flood. Not Florida, I'm sorry, Texas. Heartbreaking situation down there. But in every tragedy arises some form of a hero. And this Coast Guard swimmer is nothing short of a hero for what was done here in Texas. United States Coast Guard rescue swimmer and petty officer Scott Ruskin directly saved an astonishing 165 victims in the devastating flooding in Central Texas. Scott Ruskin is undoubtedly an American hero. There are 165 people alive today that otherwise may not have been alive because of that man's heroic actions in Texas. It was the first rescue mission of his career, and he was the only triage coordinator at the scene. Scott Ruskin is an American hero. And God bless that guy for keeping everybody alive and saving those that he saved. Now, you've got the fake news running, just hoax after hoax after hoax about the National Weather Service and DOGE trying to blame Trump for what happens. Here is Chris Martz at CHRISMARTZWX, Chris Martz Weather on X, basically calling out BS from some fake news propagandists on this platform. National Weather Service office in Austin/San Antonio issued a flood watch over 12 hours before the flood and a flash flood warning 3 hours in advance of the flood. Here's the actual document of the National Weather Service issuing said warnings. National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning for northwestern Bandera County in south central Texas, central Kirk County in south central Texas, until 4:15 a.m. Central Time. This came out at 1:14 a.m. Central. The warnings were there. It was overnight. It's when the worst of these storms usually happen, unfortunately. But the warnings were there. And anybody telling you that there were no warnings are BSing you. All right, I want to get to one more thing. It's tryarmor.com/LFA TV. Tryarmor.com/LFA TV. Armor Colostrum can help you out with a lot. Folks, you know I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. Well, this is Armor Colostrum. It can do all that and more for you. It's the first nutrition we receive in life and contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. Colostrum can help reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow. It can help stimulate your stem cells and collagen production, increasing elasticity for plumper skin, guarding against UV damage, chemicals and pollutants from the environment, clearing blemishes for a glowy complexion. Colostrum can help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, and it can also fuel your fitness performance and your recovery. Check it out at tryarmor.com/LFATV. That is TRYARMRA.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order. That is TRYARMRA.com/LFATV, tryarmor.com/LFATV for 15% off of your first order. tryarmor.com/LFATV. All right, folks, hit that thumbs up button for us as we head to the conclusion of the show. One final thing to mention here. Donald Trump is sending letters to a dozen countries today with a new deadline of August 1st to either make a trade deal or face the reciprocal tariffs that were put in place on April 2nd. August 1st is the new deadline, and that is going to be put forth in letters today, sent to what looks to be over a dozen countries. So that is, look, this is something August 1st, just like we did on April 2nd. Circle the date on your calendar. You know how the market usually reacts to tariff news. If you're looking for a buying opportunity, it may be August 1st. Not financial advice, just a theory. My theories were right about the April 2nd Liberation Day messages, Liberation Day market activity. So circle the date on your calendar. We'll see if those countries come to the negotiating table or not. Tomorrow was the original 90-day pause deadline. April 8th was supposed to be that 90-day pause. It was supposed to be ending tomorrow, but it is now being pushed back to a dozen or so countries to August 1st. So that is that's just something to keep in the back of your head. Just something to keep in the back of your head. All right, we got to go. It is 9:58.
Real fast. I promised that you would give Chicky Mama a birthday shout out.
Okay, happy birthday, Chicky Mama, right? We love, how old is she?
I don't think she said.
Okay, well, we don't know how old she is. She's very young. She's a young person. Happy birthday to Chicky Mama, who is here all the time. We love her, Chicky Mama. Happy birthday, Chicky Mama, in the chat. We got Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Live from America. Before you jump into that, well, you don't have to jump in anywhere, as a matter of fact. He comes up next right here on LFA TV because we have the all-day stream. Check out the LFA TV store. Get yourself some LFA TV merch. Get it in celebration of Jeremy Harrell coming up next for our first full week from on LFA TV since Jeremy's vacation. Obviously, last week we had a short week because of the 4th of July. Check it out. Running promos there for the ARC event this month in Kentucky. Click on that Visit the Store tab. Grab your LFA TV merch that you could wear to that meetup, that LFA TV meetup in Kentucky. You're not gonna want to be the only person who's not got LFA gear.
Yeah.
At that ARC meetup in Kentucky. So check it out at LFATV.us. Jeremy Harrell coming up next at Live from America for the next 2 hours. As President Trump would say, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Monday. We're back here same time, same place tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Rumble.com/LFATV and over on X as well. In the words of John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. And of course, thank you for your attention to this matter.